They declared me dead during labor. My husband's mother raised champagne over my hospital bed while his mistress smiled like she'd already moved in. They celebrated my death before I was even gone. But I heard every word they said. I heard every plan they made. And when the doctor whispered, "It's twins," their joy turned to terror, because twins meant witnesses, records, questions they couldn't answer. Hit that subscribe button right now because what you're about to hear is the most twisted tale of betrayal and survival you'll ever witness. This is about a woman who died and came back just in time to stop them from erasing her children. Don't skip ahead. Every second of this story matters. Now let's begin. My name is Jennifer Dyer, and I need to tell you about the day I died. Except I didn't die. Not really. But they wanted me to. God, how they wanted me to. It started 14 hours into labor. 14 excruciating hours at Mercy General Hospital in San Diego, California. 14 hours of contractions that felt like my body was being torn apart from the inside. Wave after wave of pain so intense I couldn't think, couldn't breathe, could only scream. My husband Charlie stood near the window of the delivery room. And I remember looking at him through my tears, desperate for his hand, for his eyes, for anything that said we were in this together. But he wasn't looking at me. He was staring out the window, actually staring into space while I was breaking apart right in front of him. When I called his name between contractions, he glanced over with this distant, vacant expression, like I was interrupting something important. The nurses kept reassuring me, "You're doing great, sweetie. First babies take time. Just breathe through it." But then something changed. I felt it before anyone else did. This wrong kind of warmth spreading beneath me, pooling, too much of it. The nurse's face went pale. She pressed the emergency button, and suddenly the room exploded. People in scrubs flooded in from everywhere, shouting words I didn't understand. Hemorrhaging. Blood pressure dropping. Fetal distress. The last thing I heard clearly was the doctor shouting, "We're losing her. Get the crash cart." Now, my vision started to blur, the edges going dark like someone was pulling a shade down over my eyes. The heart monitor's steady rhythm became one long, piercing scream. And in that moment, as I felt myself slipping away, I heard Charlie's voice cutting through the chaos. Not crying. Not begging them to save me. Just asking flatly, "What about the baby?" Not "save my wife." Not "please do something." Just concern about the baby. That should have told me everything I needed to know right then. Then there was nothing. Complete darkness. Complete silence. I thought that was it. I thought I'd died. But then I started to hear things. Muffled voices. The rattle and squeak of wheels on linoleum. Cold air on my skin that I could feel but couldn't react to. I tried to open my eyes, tried to scream, tried to move even one finger. Nothing worked. My body had become a prison, and I was locked inside it. I heard the rustle of fabric being pulled over my face, a sheet, covering me completely. I felt the texture of it against my nose, my mouth. I heard the doctor's exhausted voice, flat and final. Time of death, 3:47 a.m. And I was screaming inside my head. I'm not dead. I'm alive. I'm right here. Please someone, I'm right here. But no sound came out. Nothing moved. I was a ghost in my own body. They wheeled me somewhere. I could feel the motion, hear every bump and turn. A cold room. Metal beneath my back, so cold it burned. I heard someone humming, the casual sound of routine work. Someone who dealt with death every day and thought I was just another body. The morgue. Oh God, they'd taken me to the morgue. My mind raced with pure terror. This is how it ends, I thought. Conscious but paralyzed while they prepare me for. Wait. A voice cut through my panic. Wait, I think I'm getting a pulse. Oh my God, there's a pulse. The next few hours were chaos. I was rushed back upstairs, machines beeping frantically around me, people shouting orders. I heard Charlie's voice somewhere in the distance, confused, asking what was happening. And then a different doctor, Dr. Chun I'd learn later, explaining something to Charlie in a calm, clinical tone that made my blood run cold. Your wife is in what we call a locked-in state, Mr. Dyer. It's extremely rare. She's in a deep coma, but there's evidence she may be able to hear and process what's happening around her, even though she cannot respond in any way. We have her on full life support now. Her vitals are stable, but her prognosis is uncertain. There was a long pause. And then Charlie asked, and I'll never forget the tone of his voice, so careful, so measured. Can she recover? It's unlikely, Dr. Chen said gently. I'd estimate less than a 5% chance. She could remain in this state for months, even years, or she may never regain consciousness. I waited for Charlie to break down, to demand they do everything possible, to say he'd wait forever if that's what it took. Instead, I heard him say, I need to make some calls. Can you give me a minute? And he walked away. That's when I heard her voice for the first time since the delivery. Eleanor. My mother-in-law. I'd always known she didn't like me. Thought I wasn't good enough for her son, wasn't polished enough for the family image. But the ice in her voice that day was something else entirely. So she's brain dead? Eleanor said it like she was asking about the weather forecast. We don't use that terminology, Mrs. Dyer, Dr. Chen replied, clearly uncomfortable. She's in a coma with possible awareness. How long do we keep her like this? Eleanor pressed. What's the protocol for this situation? Mrs. Dyer, your daughter-in-law is a human being who is lying here unconscious, costing thousands of dollars per day, while my son has a newborn to care for. I'm asking you, doctor, what are our options? I heard Dr. Chen sigh, defeated. After 30 days, if there's no improvement, the family can discuss options regarding life support. 30 days, Eleanor repeated, like she was marking it on a calendar. That's manageable. They left, and I was alone with my screaming thoughts and the steady beep of machines keeping me alive. Barely. But then, through some miracle or curse, I heard them again. A nurse had left the intercom on by mistake, and their voices drifted in from the hallway outside my room. Charlie's voice, Eleanor's voice, and a third voice I recognized immediately, one that made my heart monitor spike even though I couldn't move a muscle. Vanessa Hale, Charlie's colleague. The polished, beautiful woman I'd suspected for months was more than just a business associate. This is actually perfect, Eleanor was saying. Perfect timing. Mom, my wife is in a coma. Charlie sounded uncertain, but not horrified. Just conflicted. Exactly. She's as good as gone, Charlie. You have the baby. You'll have the life insurance money. And Vanessa can finally step into her rightful place. This was always meant to happen, just sooner than we planned. But she's still technically alive, Charlie said. And I noticed he wasn't arguing on principle. He was working through logistics. Not for long, Eleanor said briskly. Hospitals hate keeping coma patients. Too expensive, too much liability. Give it 30 days, then we authorize removal of life support. Clean. Legal. No one will question it. What about her parents? Charlie asked. I'll handle them. We tell them she's already gone. Closed casket, quick cremation, memorial service. They live in Phoenix. They'll never know the difference. By the time they could ask questions, it'll all be over. Vanessa's voice was softer, almost gentle. Are you sure about this, darling? This is really happening. Oh, it's happening, Eleanor said, and I could hear the smile in her voice. Soon you'll have everything you deserve, Vanessa. The house, the husband, the baby. Everything Jennifer couldn't hold on to. I was screaming inside my head. I was screaming so loud I thought surely my heart would stop. Surely something would break. Surely someone would know. But my body lay still as death while they planned my murder. 3 days passed. 3 days of listening to nurses come and go. Of hearing Charlie's voice grow more distant each time he visited. Of Eleanor's cold efficiency as she made arrangements. And on the 3rd day, I learned I had a daughter. But first, I had to understand what had happened to me. The cold was constant. The sheets beneath me felt like ice against my skin, but I couldn't shiver. Couldn't pull away. Couldn't do anything but feel every degree of that unrelenting cold seeping into my back, my arms, my legs. When they moved me, repositioning to prevent bed sores, a nurse explained to someone. I felt the wheels of the bed rattling beneath me. Every bump and jostle, but I couldn't brace myself. Couldn't tense a single muscle. The oxygen mask covered my nose and mouth. I could feel its weight, the rubber seal pressed against my face, the mechanical hiss of air being forced into my lungs. Each breath wasn't mine. It was given to me by a machine, and I was helpless to take one on my own. I existed in this strange prison of sensation without response, aware of everything, capable of nothing. On day 4, I heard Dr. Chun explaining my condition to someone outside my room. I recognized the voice asking questions. Dr. Patel, the neurologist. It's called locked-in syndrome, Dr. Chun said. She's emerged from the initial coma, but she's completely paralyzed except for minimal eye movement we haven't been able to confirm yet. Cognitively, she may be fully aware, hearing us, understanding us, experiencing everything. But she can't communicate, can't move, can't even breathe on her own. Prognosis? Dr. Patel asked. Grim. Maybe 5% chance of any meaningful recovery. Most patients in this state remain locked in for life, or they pass within months from complications. 5%. They were already writing me off. That afternoon, Charlie came to visit. I heard his footsteps approach, heard him stop at the foot of my bed. No hand reaching for mine. No gentle touch. Just standing there, silent. How long can this go on? He finally asked a nurse who'd entered behind him. Not, how long until she wakes up? Not, what can we do to help her? Just how long can this go on? Like I was an inconvenience he needed to schedule around. As long as the family chooses to maintain life support, Mr. Dyer, the nurse replied carefully. And if we don't? The nurse hesitated. That's a conversation for you, your family, and the ethics board after the observation period. Charlie left without another word. No Gouvier. No I love you. Nothing. But Eleanor arrived within the hour. I heard her heels clicking against the linoleum floor with sharp, purposeful strikes. She entered my room, and I felt her presence, cold, assessing, calculating. She didn't speak to me, didn't pretend I could hear. Instead, she stood there for a long moment before stepping back into the hallway where Dr. Chin waited. Let's talk numbers, doctor, Eleanor said crisply. What's this costing per day? Mrs. Dyer, I don't think. Roughly. ICU bed, life support, round-the-clock monitoring. What are we looking at? Dr. Chun sighed. Between $8,000 and $12,000 per day. And the hospital will carry this for how long before requiring a decision? 30 days is standard for the observation period. Then we'd need the family to make a choice about long-term care or other options. Other options, Eleanor repeated. You mean withdrawal of life support? That's one possibility, yes. Good. We'll be ready to make that decision when the time comes. In the meantime, I want her room kept private. No unauthorized visitors. I'll provide a list of approved individuals. Mrs. Dyer, her parents have been calling. They're not on the list. My son is devastated enough without them adding to his grief. This is a family matter, doctor. I trust you'll respect our privacy. Then she left. Just like that. Reducing my life to a budget line and a timeline. I lay there in the dark behind my frozen eyelids, screaming silently, while my body betrayed me with every breath the machine forced into my lungs. And then just before evening rounds, I heard it. Laughter. Light, feminine laughter echoing from somewhere down the hall outside my room. A woman's voice I knew too well. Vanessa was here. And she was laughing. The laughter grew closer. Then I heard Eleanor's voice, low and amused, saying something I couldn't quite make out. The door to my room opened, and 2 sets of footsteps entered. One the sharp click of Eleanor's heels, the other softer, more hesitant. Close the door, Eleanor said. We won't be long. The door clicked shut, sealing us in. Then I heard something that made my heart monitor spike. The soft pop of a cork, the delicate clink of glass. They'd brought champagne into my ICU room while I lay on life support. To new beginnings, Eleanor said, her voice bright with satisfaction. Eleanor, are you sure we should? Vanessa's voice was uncertain, younger than I'd imagined. I mean, she's right here. She can't hear anything, dear. She's practically gone already. The doctors said so themselves. Besides, after everything you've been through, sneaking around for 2 years, you deserve a moment of celebration. 2 years. They'd been having an affair for 2 years. I heard liquid being poured, the fizz of champagne hitting crystal glasses. It feels wrong, Vanessa whispered. What feels wrong is that it took this long, Eleanor replied coolly. Charlie should have left her years ago. She was never right for this family. No grace, no sophistication, no connections. Just a girl who got pregnant and trapped my son. Eleanor. I'm simply being honest. And now, finally, we can all move forward. You'll be so much better for him, Vanessa. You understand our world. You fit. Glass clinked against glass. At least it's over, Vanessa said softly, and I heard her take a sip. At least it's over, Eleanor echoed. Now we can move on properly. You and Charlie, the baby, the life you were always meant to have. The door opened again. Charlie's footsteps. I knew them by heart. The particular rhythm of his gait, the weight of his shoes against the floor. He stopped just inside the door. I waited for him to explode, to demand what they were doing, to throw them out for their cruelty. But he said nothing. The silence stretched out, suffocating. In that silence, I heard everything I needed to know. He'd known they were coming. Maybe he'd even sent them. This wasn't a shock to him. This was relief. Charlie, darling, come have a glass, Eleanor said warmly. We're toasting the future. I heard him move closer. Heard the champagne being poured. Heard him accept the glass. They were celebrating my death. Standing beside my bed, drinking champagne, planning their future. And Charlie was with them. This wasn't something that happened in a moment of weakness or grief. This was planned. This was wanted. They'd been waiting for me to die, and now that I was close enough, they couldn't even wait for it to be official. How long did Dr. Chen say? Charlie finally spoke, his voice flat. 26 more days, Eleanor answered. Then we can make it official. Clean, legal, no complications. A sound in the hallway. Footsteps approaching, then stopping. Through the door, I heard a nurse's sharp intake of breath. She must have seen them through the window, seen the champagne glasses, seen them toasting over my dying body. The footsteps retreated quickly, but I knew what I'd heard. Someone had witnessed this. Someone knew. They left my room 20 minutes later, their champagne glasses empty, their spirits high. I lay there in the dark, trembling inside a body that wouldn't move, when I heard urgent footsteps approaching, quick, nervous, younger than the seasoned doctors who usually made rounds. Mr. Dyer? Mr. Dyer, wait. A male voice, breathless. I need to speak with you. It's urgent. Charlie's footsteps stopped. What is it? I'm Busse. It's about your wife's delivery. There's something you weren't informed about. The young doctor, Dr. Martinez, I'd learn later, a resident who'd assisted in the emergency, sounded terrified. Can we speak privately? Whatever it is, just tell me now. Charlie's voice had gone cold, irritated. Sir, I really think. Now, doctor. There was a pause. Then Dr. Martinez said, quietly but clearly, your wife delivered twins. The silence that followed was deafening. I felt it like a shockwave, even trapped in my paralyzed body. What? Charlie's voice was barely a whisper. What did you just say? During the emergency delivery, your wife gave birth to twins. 2 girls. The second baby was in distress and needed immediate intensive care. She's been in the NICU since the delivery. She's stable now, thriving actually, but I just discovered you were never properly informed. 2 babies. Eleanor's voice cut through like a knife. She must have been close enough to overhear. What do you mean 2 babies? Mrs. Dyer, I'm sorry, there was confusion during the emergency. The attending physician assumed the family had been notified, but where is this second baby now? Eleanor demanded. In the NICU. She's healthy, ready to be discharged to family care any day now. We've been waiting for. Who else knows about this? Charlie's voice was sharp, panicked. The medical staff involved in the delivery and NICU care. We tried to reach you multiple times, but... Stop. Charlie cut him off. Don't tell anyone else. Not another word to anyone. Do you understand? Mr. Dyer, this is your daughter. Your wife's daughter. I said stop talking. Inside my frozen body, something broke open. 2 babies. I'd had twins. 2 daughters. And they were alive, both alive, while I lay here unable to protect them. Terror flooded through me. They hadn't wanted 1 baby. I knew that now from their toasts and their plans. What would they do with 2? But beneath the terror came something else. Something white-hot and razor-sharp. Rage. Pure, burning rage. And with it, determination stronger than anything I'd ever felt. They could have their champagne. They could have their countdown. But they would not have my daughters. I heard Vanessa's voice, tight with confusion. Charlie, what does this mean? More footsteps. Eleanor moving closer, her heels clicking ominously. This changes everything, Eleanor said, her voice ice-cold. And I knew, trapped in my paralyzed body, that my daughters were in danger. Both of them. They thought they'd left my room, but they hadn't gone far. The intercom was still on. That same nurse's mistake that kept giving me windows into my own nightmare. And their voices drifted in from the consultation room next door. 2 babies complicate everything, Eleanor said. Her voice clipped and businesslike. 1 baby we can explain. Everyone's already seen Madison. We've had visitors, taken photos, posted announcements. But a second baby? People will ask questions. What kind of questions? Vanessa asked nervously. Where has she been? Why didn't we mention her? Why was she hidden in the NICU for days? Eleanor was pacing. I could hear the rhythm of her heels. It looks suspicious. It looks like we were hiding something. Because we are hiding something, Charlie said quietly. Exactly. Which is why we need to handle this carefully. Eleanor stopped pacing. We can't have 2 babies, Charlie. It's too much exposure, too many records, too much evidence of timing. Evidence of what? Vanessa asked. Of when things shifted. Of when Charlie's priorities changed. Of when you entered the picture. Eleanor's voice was patient, explaining something obvious. 1 grieving widower with 1 baby is sympathetic. But if people start digging, if Jennifer's parents start asking why there are 2 babies and why they weren't told, things unravel. My heart monitor beeped faster. I felt it, the panic rising inside me, searching desperately for a way out of my frozen body. So what do we do? Charlie asked. Not we can't do this. Not these are my daughters. Just what do we do? We keep Madison. She's already integrated into the narrative. But the second baby. Eleanor paused. I have a solution. A private adoption. Out of state. I have contacts, a couple in Nevada who've been desperate for a child. They'll pay well. And they'll ask no questions. You want to sell my daughter? Charlie's voice held shock, but not enough. Not nearly enough. I want to protect our family, Eleanor corrected coldly. This is damage control. The second baby disappears quietly. No records connecting her to us. Clean. Simple. I'll raise Madison, Vanessa said softly. Everyone already assumes that we're together. It'll look natural. Silence. Charlie was thinking. Actually thinking about this. It's the only way, Eleanor pressed. Otherwise, questions lead to investigations. Investigations lead to Jennifer's parents. Her parents lead to lawyers. And lawyers lead to everything we've built falling apart. When would this happen? Charlie asked. When? Not if. My heart monitor screamed. Alarm started beeping, loud and insistent. Inside my body, something was breaking. Not physically, but emotionally, and somehow my body knew. Tears leaked from my frozen eyes. Hot trails down my cold cheeks. A nurse rushed in. I heard her gasp softly. "She's reacting," the nurse whispered, staring at my face. "Look at her vitals. Look at her tears. She's reacting to something." Day 14 arrived with Eleanor's signature on papers I couldn't see, but could hear being shuffled at my bedside. "These are the advance directive forms," a hospital administrator explained. "After 30 days with no improvement, you'll have the legal right to withdraw life support. We'll need your signature here, here, and here." The scratch of Eleanor's pen was crisp, decisive. "No hesitation." "And the date?" she asked. Day 30 would be next Thursday, Mrs. Dyer. We'd schedule it for early morning, 6 a.m., to allow the family privacy. 6 a.m. The exact time they'd kill me. Legally. Cleanly. 16 days left. Vanessa started visiting daily. She'd sweep into my room smelling of expensive perfume, talking on her phone about nursery furniture and pediatrician appointments. Once she stood right beside my bed, holding Madison. I knew it was Madison because she cooed. "Mama's here, sweet girl." Not Aunt Vanessa. Not Daddy's friend. Mama. She was already erasing me. The nurses noticed. I heard them whispering during shift changes outside my door. "That woman comes here every day acting like the baby's mother," one said. "The patient's not even dead yet." "I know. And did you hear? There's a second baby. Twin. Nobody's even mentioned her." "What? Where?" "Still in NICU. The family hasn't asked about her once. Not once." "That's not right. Should we report this?" "To who?" "Being awful isn't illegal. But I'm documenting everything. Something feels wrong." The ethics committee was mentioned on day 17. A social worker came to evaluate the situation, but Eleanor handled her with surgical precision. Grief-stricken mother-in-law. Devoted son overwhelmed with new fatherhood. Tragic circumstances. All very proper and sad. The social worker left satisfied. 13 days remaining. I fought. God, how I fought. Every moment I was conscious, I tried to move. Tried to scream. Tried to force my eyelids open, my lips apart, my fingers to curl. I focused everything I had on my right hand. Move, move, move. Nothing. In the empty hours, memories flooded back. My pregnancy. How happy I'd been those first few months, decorating a nursery, choosing names, dreaming about who my baby would become. And the clues I'd ignored. Charlie's late nights, Vanessa's too familiar presence at family dinners, Eleanor's cold smiles when I talked about the future. They'd been waiting for me to disappear long before I ever went into labor. 8 days left. I concentrated harder. My whole world narrowed to my right index finger. Move. Please. Move. And then so subtle a passing nurse almost missed it. My finger twitched. Just once. Barely a millimeter. But it moved. It was Nurse Rebecca who saw it. She was checking my vitals on day 23 when my finger moved again. More deliberately this time. A definite curl inward. She froze. "Mrs. Dyer? Jennifer, can you hear me? Move your finger again if you can hear me." I focused every atom of my being on that single finger. Move. 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 It curled. Once. Twice. Oh my God. Rebecca slammed the call button. "I need Dr. Chun in here now. She's responding. The patient is responding." Footsteps thundered down the hallway. Dr. Chun burst through the door, Dr. Patel right behind him. "Show me," Dr. Chun demanded. Rebecca took my hand. "Jennifer, squeeze my hand if you can hear me." I squeezed. Weakly, barely, but unmistakably. Dr. Chen's eyes went wide. "Get neuro down here immediately. Full assessment." Over the next hour, I fought my way back into my body inch by agonizing inch. My eyelids were the hardest. They felt like they weighed 1,000 pounds each. But finally, they fluttered open. The light was blinding. Shapes slowly came into focus. Dr. Chen's face hovered above me, tears in his eyes. "Welcome back," he whispered. "Can you try to speak?" My throat was raw from the breathing tube. My lips felt like stone. But I had one word I needed to say. One word that mattered more than anything. I forced air through my vocal cords, pushed sound past my lips. "Twins." It came out as barely a rasp, but Dr. Chen heard it. His expression changed instantly, from joy to alarm. "What did she say?" "She said twins," Dr. Patel confirmed, leaning closer. "Jennifer, do you remember delivering twins?" I managed the smallest nod. Dr. Chen and Dr. Patel exchanged a look that said everything. "Get security up here," Dr. Chen ordered. "And call social services immediately. Do not let the family near this patient until we understand what's happening." A nurse picked up the phone. "Should we disconnect the life support countdown?" "Absolutely. This patient is conscious and aware. There will be no withdrawal." Dr. Chen turned back to me. "Jennifer, you're safe now. We're going to protect you." Rebecca squeezed my hand gently. "What do we do about the husband?" Dr. Chen's jaw tightened. "Page him. Tell him he needs to come to the hospital immediately." "What reason should I give?" "Tell him there's been an unexpected development with his wife." Dr. Patel added quietly. "And make sure security is stationed outside this room before he arrives. Something tells me this is about to get very complicated." 20 minutes later, I heard Charlie's voice in the hallway, demanding to know what the emergency was. He was about to find out. They arrived together, all three of them. I heard their footsteps in the hallway, heard Eleanor's irritated voice snapping at the nurse who'd paged them. This better be important. We were in the middle of. The door opened. They expected to find me flat on my back, tubes down my throat, machines breathing for me. They expected death, or close enough. Instead, they found me sitting upright in bed, breathing tube removed, eyes locked directly on them. Eleanor stopped so abruptly that Vanessa bumped into her from behind. Charlie went white, his hand gripping the doorframe for support. The silence stretched out for 5 long seconds. Then I spoke, my voice raspy but clear. "Did you enjoy the champagne?" Eleanor's mouth opened. No sound came out. "You should have waited until I was actually dead." I continued, watching their faces crumble. "But I suppose you were too excited to celebrate." "Jennifer," Charlie started, but his voice broke. "Don't." I cut him off. "Don't you dare say my name like you care." Dr. Chen stepped forward from where he'd been standing beside my bed. "Mrs. Dyer has been conscious for approximately 3 weeks. She's been in a locked-in state, fully aware but unable to move or communicate." The words landed like bombs. "She heard everything," Dr. Chen continued, his voice hard. "Every conversation. Every plan. Everything." Vanessa made a small, wounded sound. No, that's not." 2 years, I said, looking at her. "You were sleeping with my husband for 2 years. And you." I turned to Eleanor. "You wanted me gone so badly you were counting down the days until you could legally kill me." "This is insane," Eleanor said, but her voice shook. "Charlie, she's clearly confused." "The coma." "She's not confused," Dr. Patel interrupted. "Her cognitive function is completely intact." The door opened again. 2 nurses entered, each carrying a baby wrapped in pink blankets. Both of my daughters. Both alive. Both perfect. Charlie's eyes went to them, then back to me. And I saw the moment he understood what I knew. "Twins," I said softly. "Did you think I wouldn't find out? Did you think I wouldn't know you were planning to sell one of my babies?" "We weren't," Charlie stammered. "That's not." "I heard you," I said, my voice rising. "I heard all of you. The champagne toast over my body. The plan to hide my second daughter. The Nevada couple. The out-of-state solution. I heard everything." The door burst open again. 2 police officers entered, followed by a woman in a dark suit, social services. "Eleanor Dyer?" one officer said. "We need you to come with us." We have questions about conspiracy to commit fraud and child trafficking. This is ridiculous. Eleanor's composure finally shattered. You can't, I didn't. Ma'am, we have testimony from medical staff about conversations overheard regarding illegal adoption plans. We need you to come downtown. Vanessa backed toward the door, sobbing. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know about the baby. Ma'am, you need to come with us too, the second officer said, taking her arm. She screamed as they let her out, her cries echoing down the hallway. Eleanor went silently, but I saw her face as they escorted her past my bed. All that cold calculation, that iron control gone. She looked ancient, shattered. Charlie stood frozen, watching his world collapse. You're not taking my daughters, I said quietly. You're never touching them again. He looked at me and I saw it. The moment he realized he'd lost everything. His mother. His mistress. His babies. His freedom. Everything. The legal machinery moved swiftly once the police had my testimony. Charlie lost custody immediately. Emergency protective order, pending full investigation. Eleanor was charged with conspiracy to commit fraud and attempted child trafficking. Vanessa faced charges for her role in the conspiracy. The district attorney called it one of the most disturbing cases he'd seen in 20 years. The story broke across California within 48 hours. Coma patient awakens to stop family's dark plot. Mother hears own murder planned while paralyzed. California socialite charged in twin baby scheme. My parents flew in from Phoenix. My mother sobbed for hours, holding me, holding my daughters. My father hired the best lawyers in San Diego. They'd been told I was dead, shown forged cremation papers, given a fake urn. Eleanor had thought of everything. Almost everything. Recovery was slow. Physical therapy to rebuild muscles that had atrophied. Speech therapy to strengthen my voice. Trauma counseling to process everything I'd heard, everything I'd endured. But I recovered. Because I had to. Because my daughters needed me. 6 months later, I stood in my kitchen in La Jolla, watching the Pacific Ocean through the window while my twin girls, Hope and Grace, the names I'd chosen, napped peacefully upstairs. The house was small, nothing like the mansion I'd shared with Charlie, but it was mine. Safe. Clean. Honest. Charlie took a plea deal. 5 years probation, permanent loss of custody, mandatory counseling. Eleanor got 18 months in prison. Vanessa disappeared from California entirely. Sometimes, in quiet moments, I think about those 23 days. 23 days of being trapped in my own body, hearing my death celebrated, my children threatened, my existence erased. 23 days of helpless rage and silent screaming. But I also think about day 24. The day my finger moved. The day I fought my way back. I think about the nurse who believed me. The doctors who protected me. The moment I opened my eyes and saw my daughters, both of them, alive and safe. People ask me how I survived. How I stayed sane trapped in that frozen body, listening to such horror. I tell them the truth. I survived because I had to. Because mothers don't give up. Because somewhere deep in my paralyzed body, I knew my daughters needed me, and I would move heaven and earth, or just one finger, to reach them. They thought I was gone. They toasted my death, divided my children, planned my erasure. But mothers don't disappear. We awaken. And when we do, we remember everything. I look at my daughters sleeping peacefully upstairs, safe in their room, safe in their home, safe with their mother who refused to leave them. I didn't die in labor. I was reborn in truth. And I will spend the rest of my life making sure my daughters know that no matter what darkness surrounds them, no matter how impossible the fight seems, mothers never stop fighting. We never stop awakening.